You ever have that feeling, no matter what you do, you meditate, you go for a walk, you try to just sit still, and there's this constant hum of restlessness just under the surface. It's like a quiet battle we're all fighting with ourselves. Well, today, let's dive into that feeling and maybe, just maybe, look at it in a whole new light.
I mean, it really does feel like that sometimes, doesn't it? A full-on war inside your own head. It's you on one side, and this restless, chattering, always on the move part of you on the other. You try to wrangle it, to quiet it down, but it's like trying to catch smoke. So here's the thought. What if we've been fighting the wrong enemy this whole time? Okay, so let's start with that fight itself, the one we seem to be in almost every day, where we try to force our minds to be calm, and it just feels completely and frustratingly impossible. Right? We're constantly telling ourselves, okay, just focus, or stop worrying about that, or my favorite, just be calm. We treat our own minds like it's this wild thing we have to tame into submission. But honestly, it's like trying to tell the ocean to stop having waves. It's just not going to happen. And when we fail, which of course we always do, we end up feeling like it's some kind of personal defect. And listen, this feeling is totally universal. The Buddhist monk Ajahn Sumedho talks about this exact thing. When he first became really aware of his own inner restlessness, his immediate reaction was to see it as a fetter, like a chain holding him back. His first thought was, I've got to get rid of this. And that's the starting line for pretty much all of us. But this is where the whole script gets flipped. So let's look at this with a totally different lens. What if all this restlessness isn't a bug in your system? What if it's not a flaw at all? What if it's a fundamental feature of reality itself? This brings us to a really important idea called samsara. And all it really means is that everything we can see, touch, and think about, our bodies, our feelings, the world out there, is, by its very nature, restless. It's always changing. It's impermanent. Think of it like this. Restlessness is the factory default setting for reality. It was never meant to be perfectly still. And this, right here, is the absolute key. The restlessness itself isn't the problem. The real problem, the thing that causes all the suffering, is that we think we are that restlessness. We mistake all these temporary, shifting conditions for our true core self. So this is basically a giant case of mistaken identity. But why? Why do we get so tangled up in these fleeting states? Why do we hold on to them like they're who we actually are? Ajahn Sumedho tells this perfect little story about it. He's describing this beautiful afternoon, right? The sun's out, the flowers look amazing, and he's just filled with this incredible feeling of peace and love. But then he realizes, aha, this feeling is totally conditional. It depends on the sunshine and the flowers. So if he makes that his identity, what happens when a cloud rolls in? Poof! That happy person is just gone. And this really shows us the two sides of the coin. On one hand, you've got your personality. It's totally conditional. It's always changing. It's impermanent. It can never be permanently calm or happy because it's built on things that are always shifting. But on the other hand, you've got your true nature, and that is unconditional. It's still. It's timeless. We spend our whole lives building our identity on what are called empty phenomena, things that have no solid, lasting core. We think we are our body, which is changing every single day. We think we are our personality, which, as we saw, can change with the weather. We even wrap our identity up in our job title, our nationality, or in how people feel about us, whether they're praising us or blaming us. But all of these are just temporary labels. They aren't the real you. Okay, so if we aren't all that noise, all that restless chatter, what are we? Well, this is where we get to the solution. It's about learning to shift our attention away from all that activity and onto the silent awareness that's just watching it all happen. Here's a way to think about it. You've got what you might call sense consciousness. This is tied directly to your body and your five senses. It's unstable, it's always changing. It's the experience of hearing a sound or thinking a thought. But behind all of that, there's pure consciousness. And this is universal, it's perfectly still, and it's timeless. It's not the experience itself, it's the silent witness to the experience. I just love this quote because it turns everything on its head. We spend so much energy trying to turn down the volume on the noise in our minds,
But this suggests we don't have to fight it at all. We just have to learn to tune in to the silence that is already there, underneath everything. And that silence, that awareness, is actually way more powerful and fundamental than any noise that passes through it. And that brings us to a final really beautiful metaphor that ties this whole idea together perfectly. Just for a second, imagine that every single one of your experiences, every thought, every flicker of joy or sadness, every moment of peace or anxiety, imagine they're all just waves on the surface of a giant ocean. Now, sometimes those waves are just little ripples, a passing thought, a minor irritation. But other times they can feel like massive tsunamis, overwhelming grief, intense excitement, or a wave of pure panic. They come in all shapes and sizes, but they're all just waves. But here is the most important part. No matter how big or how small, every single wave does the exact same thing. It rises up, and then it falls back into the water it came from. Our problem is that we think we are the wave. We get tossed around, desperately trying to cling to the good waves and fight off the scary ones. But our true identity, it was never the wave. We are the deep, still, vast ocean itself. So, I'll just leave you with this to think about. What if this whole exhausting war on restlessness has been a total misunderstanding? What if the goal isn't to become some master wave tamer, but simply to remember again and again that you are, and you have always been, the entire ocean?